We're live.
Right now? Should take a second. There we go. Yeah. Let's look at that. Loop back. Shut the whole thing. Are you recording here that too?
Yeah, that's
All right. It is 6:33. I will call the meeting to order. First on the agenda is the approval of minutes for the June 10th meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
A motion to approve the June 10th, 2026 minutes.
second.
We'll vote by roll call in alphabetical order by last name. Please respond with a yes, no, or abstain. Dodds?
Yes.
Husk? Yes. McNamee?
Yes.
Motion passes. Next up is our series of reports, starting with the financial report. And since we didn't meet last month, this will be a combined financial report of June and July.
Do you want me to read the summary table for both June and July?
I think we can just get caught up on the July one.
Okay. So for our Township Roads and Infrastructure Fund, we had 0 expenses in June or July, 0 year-to-date expenses, 0 remaining approved budget, and 0 cash balance. In our rainy day fund, we had 0 expenses in June or July, leaving our year-to-date expenses of $24,986, a remaining approved budget of $15,014, and a cash balance of $18,823.84. In our township fund, we had some expenses. In June was $12,875.35, and in July was $10,254.03, leaving our year-to-date expenses of $43,038.74, and a remaining approved budget of $71,961.26, and cash available of $85,291.66. In our township assistance fund, we had some July expenses of $952.98, leaving our year-to-date expenses of $1,261.53, and a remaining approved budget of $18,738.47, and a cash balance of $139,121.28. In our recreation fund, we had some expenses in June and July, leaving our year-to-date expenses of $2,313.94, a remaining approved budget of $4,186.06, and cash balance of $14,201.17. In our COVID donation fund, we had an expense of $35.56 in July, leaving our cash balance of $414.66. Our township donation fund is at 0, and our volunteer fire department donation fund remains at $3,378.70. We had 1 deposit from our safe deposit box that we were required to close because they were closing it down. $25.32. We had 2 local income tax deposits for $1,382.83 each. Our Trust Indiana account earned $625.83 in June and $645.18 in July. In June, we collected $1,004 in CVET, $829.20 for license excise, and $22,988.29 in property taxes. Does the board have any questions?
No questions.
Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the financial report?
I make a motion to approve the financial report.
Second.
All right, we'll vote by roll call. Dodds?
Yes.
Husk? Yes. McNamee?
Yes.
Yes. Motion passes. Next up, we have the trustees report.
Okay. This was several pages of reports, so I'll try to be efficient. First up is our township updates, our operational updates. So on June 18th, 2026, the northern portion of Monroe County and Benton Township was hit by an EF3 tornado. While I was able to drive around the township and survey the damage the next day, it seemed largely limited to Morgan Monroe State Forest. However, at the time that I was out, these roads were impassable. After a few days, one of the residents on Hackers Creek Road or Place reached out to me asking what resources the township could provide, as well as gave me contact information for another family affected by the tornado. I don't want to provide too much personal information in a public forum without their consent, but after a lengthy conversation with each family about their current needs, which were more about infrastructure and repair, I informed them and also sent them an email regarding our township assistance program, which is for low-income residents who are on the verge of disconnection, eviction, no food or medicine, etc. So not really what we do here as the township. I connected them with Jamie Nebel, who's the director of Monroe County Emergency Management, as well as sent along information about financial assistance from the Red Cross as well as from the state. The state program, however, is for underinsured or uninsured homeowners. Since the weather was very hot during the time, I did buy some cases of water and Gatorade and drop them off, as well as to provide support. Unfortunately, this type of response is still a gap across the state for folks who are facing the repercussions from severe weather but who are not low income. We are not FEMA, is what another township trustee would say. Silver Mesa Farm has reached out and is interested in donating fresh produce to the township. However, because this is fresh food and they would need a donation statement for tax purposes, our usual method of using the little pantry would not be a good fit for this program, so I'm still trying to think of other ways we can make that work. I've been contacted by the Lynn Stevens, either family attorney or realtor, and they are interested in doing something with his property for the benefit of the community. That was the message that was left. I returned the message, but I have not heard back. Thrasher Landscaping came out early in July and installed a drain at the township door to prevent water coming in. I will continue to monitor the carpet near the door after storms and hope to see that it continues to remain dry. As far as the North Tunnel Road property, I filed a request with Eric Deckard, who's a surveyor that we've worked with several times, to provide his professional expertise regarding the status of the North Tunnel Road parcel. And this was by request from the Monroe County Auditor. He should be getting to this towards the end of the month. I think he was looking 8 to 10 weeks out. Morgan County is beginning the conversation regarding township mergers and would like to invite all township officials throughout the ITA Central area to join us. And they state, while this meeting will focus on the discussions beginning in Morgan County, we believe it can provide a valuable opportunity for officials from other counties to see how a county can begin and facilitate its own merger conversations. The date is Thursday, August 20th from 6 to 7 o'clock. Doors open at 5:30. It will be at the Martinsville Youth Development Center, 165 Morton Avenue in Martinsville, Indiana. I am planning on attending and observing. As far as the financial township updates, the maximum growth quotient for the 2027 budget is 6%, which is the highest I ever recall it being. As far as the capital improvement plan, on March 12, 2026, Governor Braun signed into law House Enrolled Act 1200-2026 that in part amends Indiana Code 36-6-9-12. This amendment provides that for the start of the annual adoption of the capital improvement plan under Indiana Code 36-6-9-12 is now January 1st, 2028. And I believe this is to allow folks who are either going to be forced into mergers or doing voluntary mergers to not have to worry about one more thing in their planning. So it has now been pushed to 2028. Before this date, townships with the capital improvement funds exceeding 150% of the annual budget and $200,000 are still required to adopt a CIP no later than September 30th of each calendar year. Townships that do not meet these thresholds are not required to complete a full capital improvement plan. However, the Indiana Township Association is recommending that everyone do one. Over the last 2.5 weeks, I am working with the State Board of Accounts field examiner to complete our routine audit. They have been in Monroe County since January, but somehow waited until the day I was leaving town in order to inform us that we were starting ours. So over the past 2.5 weeks, I've had to provide the following documentation: the most recent capital asset ledger, our most recent township travel policy, supporting documentation, timesheets verifying hours worked by the former clerical caseworker for fiscal years 2022, 2023, and 2024. Supporting documentation to verify the accuracy of reported 2022, 2023, and 2024 disbursement balances for the payroll deduction fund. Supporting documentation for check number 13219, dated 2/30/24, which was Joe's reprint of 2021 paycheck loss in the mail. Supporting documentation and optical images front and back for transaction 13530 for $236,394.74 for the Monroe Fire Protection District, and 13071 for $7,000 for David Smith Memorial Park, both dated October 27th, 2025. I provided not only that, but the MOUs as well. Source documentation for transaction 12923.1, dated January 29, 2023, to the Indiana Department of Revenue. Credit card statements and receipts for specific months selected by the State Board of Accounts for 2022, 2023, 2024, and 2025. Source documentation, receipt copies, resolutions for specific receipt samples provided by the State Board of Accounts. Weed lanes affiliated with previously sampled receipts. Verification of the source of the $3,348.70 donation dated January 20th, 2023 from Benton Township of Monroe County Volunteer Firefighters, Inc., and to elaborate on our relationship with the Monroe Fire Protection District. I also had to provide supporting documentation for why we receive refunds on an annual basis from our workers' compensation policy, and why we went from paying the Indiana Department of Revenue on an annual, then a monthly, and back to an annual basis. The board should have received an email today from the auditor's office, and I am very pleased to say that we had no issues. As a matter of fact, he said that in his time with the State Board of Accounts since May of 2025, we are the first unit to complete an audit with a 100% score. So, yay. I would like to say all of that, some of that hard work and applause should go to Mary McInerney, who served as clerk and helped put a lot of these files away. And I know it was somewhat challenging on why I wanted things a certain way, but it's because when the auditors ask for it, I have to be able to provide it. I was asked to ask the board this evening if you wanted to make an official statement to be included when they release the audit report. So you were given the opportunity in the email if you would like to do that. If you would choose not to, please let me know and I will let him know. Do you want to think about it?
I mean, sure. It didn't actually like Rob what was in that email tonight. Okay. Does it need to be now? Or just like a letter that's included or back to them?
Yeah, so the board has an opportunity to write a letter and have it attached to this audit.
Gotcha.
I would say that for this type of result, that would be unusual. However,
Okay.
the board has an opportunity to do that.
Okay. Well, I don't see any need right now, unless anybody else does. I mean, it would just be more of a, good job.
Okay. Uniondale Senior Center updates. The vinyl flooring has replaced the carpet in the senior center. In addition, the harsh LED lights were replaced with warmer canister lights. Next up is to find someone to repaint the ceiling. I've had difficulty finding someone. As far as our cemetery updates, Morgan Monroe State Forest has suggested a sign placement for our completed signs near the front of the cemetery at the end of the path. So this wouldn't be near the parking lot. This would be, you would park, you would go down the path to the cemetery, and then they would be there near the step cemetery sign. I thought this looked good and told them to go ahead with placement. I also received a call from a resident asking about Shiloh Cemetery. Again, thanks to Mary McInerney, we had information compiled that we were able to refer them to the proper contact person. A relative of the Atkins family, buried in Step Cemetery, reached out asking if I had any information regarding his family. Although I was not able to send him anything at the time, I did refer him to Find a Grave and genealogy websites. But recently, I discovered a newspaper article from 2010 that I had collected while doing cemetery research, and I sent that along to him, and that is involving the Atkins family. As far as Sandy Smith Park, I emailed Ashley Kerber as well as Board President David Killian regarding the outstanding items from the 2025 community grant. As of today, I have not received a response. And just so that we're keeping track, this is the 5th email I've sent so far this year. For the fire district report, this is the report I was given. During June and July, stations 24, which is the Benton Township station, 25, which is the Bloomington Township station on Norfolk State Road 37, and 26, which is the Washington Township station on Chambers Pike, responded to approximately 43 EMS calls within Benton Township. The monitors obtained vital signs for many patients within Benton Township during these calls. Of the incidents I reviewed, there were 2 cardiac arrests, and data appears to have been downloaded from the monitors for 5 incidents. I found no EKG transmissions to the hospital for this time period. Unfortunately, the Zoll Cloud only maintains case transfer data for the past 30 calendar days. This explains why these numbers appear low. So that was something that they learned, as far as that it's only good for 30 days. So they will make a point to be retrieving those numbers on a regular basis now.
Awesome.
Regarding the CPR devices, 2 units have been requested, and they anticipate those trial devices will arrive at the district later this month. We will begin training and trials immediately after delivery, and they will continue to update us on the progress.
Board have any questions?
No questions.
Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the trustees report?
A motion to approve the trustees report.
Second.
We'll vote by roll call. Dodds?
Yes.
Huss? Yes. McInerney?
Yes.
Motion passes. Next up, and the final of our reports is the Township Assistance Report, which will include both June and July.
On June 12th, a previous applicant from earlier this year called and left a message. I tried to call them back, but their voicemail was full and I wasn't able to leave a message. I tried at least 8 times to return their call. I ended up buying a new TracFone flip phone with 1 year of service for $25 for the whole year. This enables me to have our phone forwarded to this device, and I can pick up if I'm available. So this makes our 8th request for township assistance for the year, the 3rd confirmed township residents, and the 2nd application. June 17th, and we covered a little bit with this in the township trustee report, but a family impacted the tornado contacting me to ask about financial assistance or resources available. After lengthy conversations about their situations and needs, options were given on how the township could assist them if they felt that they qualified. Ongoing material and resource support have been offered for weeks afterwards, and I have photos below. June 29th, online application for assistance for rent and electricity. This is the 9th request for the year. I guess that would be the number 4 confirmed resident, and the 3rd application we've received. However, this person has not returned, made any follow-ups to the application. I saw on Facebook that they were doing a GoFundMe, so perhaps they were able to get things sorted out that way. In July, I noticed that Bloomington Township had so many applicants that they were backed up for 2 to 3 weeks for appointments, even including evening appointments. Since at the time that I made this decision, we only had 1 applicant this year, I asked their office if they would be willing to allow the deputy trustee to shadow them for several appointments, and they generously agreed. I believe that she was out there for a few days. On July 15th, we had a request for assistance for car repair, but they were a Bloomington Township resident and were denied there before they called us. July 15th, someone else called for information about Center Township in Benton County. On July 28th, we received a find help email about someone asking for assistance. Again, we always contact people and have informed them about our process, and we have not heard back from them. On July 29th, an IU Health social worker referred someone to us, but when I spoke to this person, they were in fact in Bloomington Township. And on July 30th, it's not really township assistance. No, but the funeral home called looking for the caretakers of the Young Family Cemetery, and they were referred to Berman and Diane Young. And then page 2 and page 3 of the report is the pictures that I took from going up to visit the folks impacted by the tornado. The first one is at the Morgan Monroe State Forest sign, which I feel like was pretty heavily impacted. So this is going north on Old State Road 37, and then you turn right, and then you turn left onto Hackers Creek. And as soon as you turned left, it was just a different world at that point. And so drove through a lot of debris. Morgan Monroe had done a great job of clearing it for emergency purposes, but unfortunately these folks are kind of stuck with having to deal with that. So I have a picture on page 2, and actually this is looking at one of the houses that's affected. If you look to the right of the vertical tree, you can kind of see what is a brown house. And then I thought this was really surreal. This last photo is you're driving along, and there's a nice field to the right, and there's this great house standing there, and then almost all the trees are without branches or leaves from right behind them. And the picture really does not do it justice. But the fact that their house is still standing is just nothing short of miraculous, in my opinion. And unfortunately, I heard that over and over from people, is that people are really saddened by the loss of the great view and the wildlife right now. But having visited McCormick Creek State Park last year, the wildlife does come back. It's just different than what it was before.
Amazingly destructive.
Yeah.
Board have any questions, comments? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the Township Assistance Report?
A motion to approve the Township Assistance Report.
Second.
We'll vote by roll call. Dodds?
Yes.
Husk? Yes. McInerney?
Yes.
Motion passes. We have no old board business. We have a few items under new board business, starting with the 2027 budget review.
Yeah, so one of the documents that I uploaded to Drive is our kind of a budget worksheet, and this is where I've taken the 2024, 2025, and 2026 budget, and that's there for historical purposes. And then we have kind of our June 30th, 2026 halfway mark, which is usually a good gauge on what the rest of the year is going to look like, but for some things that are billed on the second half of the year, like insurance, that's not necessarily the case. But here I thought that we could go through each budget item line by line so that you could see kind of what's the same from last year, what's different, and then you have an opportunity to ask any questions. Is that okay? Okay. So starting with our township fund, salary of trustee, I'm proposing it remain the same at $16,821. The pay of the township board remain the same at $3,059. We did not have an approved budget for deputy trustee this year because we didn't have anyone in that position this time last year. So later on, we will have an opportunity to increase this appropriation, but and I'm proposing for 2027 that this amount be $2,000. And then Social Security, it's kind of just calculated based on those amounts, and I estimate it's $1,900 if everything was paid. Stationery and office stays pretty much the same at $450. Postage, $450. Operating supplies, $500. Repair and maintenance supplies, $500. Other supplies, which includes our township accounting software, is at $1,600. That's just going towards the budget. For professional services, it's been a little lower the last year or so, but I bumped that up to about $5,000. Again, this is not that I'm planning on spending that. It's just kind of the initial budget of permission to spend. Travel expenses is $150, and this is kind of going back and forth to the post office, or if I have to, go do anything like routine within the township, that usually falls there. Telephone and internet has gone up, but I feel like it was split in the past. We're not really paying more on a monthly basis. So I have $2,400. Printing and advertising is $150. The officials bond, $150. Other insurance, which is like our liability and our umbrella policy, $5,000. Utilities, $3,000. Repairs and maintenance, these are services, so about $5,000. I don't have anything down for cemetery and repair and maintenance. I have $5,000 for mowing cemeteries, $500 for vegetation complaints, $500 for Indiana Township Association dues, $1,000 for training, and this is when I have to go up to the State Board of Accounts annual meeting or to the Indiana Township Association conference. That's what this line item is for. We have stormwater fees around $100, other services and charges $2,770, and then I did build out the community Halloween event for $500. This would be for trinkets for the kids, supplies, hot cocoa, hot cider, kinds of things. For the buildings, I had budgeted next year at $30,000, and machinery and equipment for $1,500. I'm just going to give you a heads up. They had to hear about it while they were waiting. This printer is really going downhill pretty quick. We've had somebody come out and take a look at it because it's been a few years since we had maintenance, but because it's over 10 years old, they had said that it's actually going to cost more to buy parts, at this point than it would be just to buy a new machine, unfortunately. So if not this year, then maybe next year. So that would bring our budget for the township fund to be around $90,000. Again, it's going to be kind of higher than what it was a few years ago, but lower than what it was last year. And most of that would be for, these kind of ongoing projects with the buildings. Any questions, comments about that fund?
I don't know.
I think we should have a line item for cemetery repair.
Okay, I can take that from something else. So basically, with the budget, all of our item 3s can be like intermingled and adjusted. It's moving like from a category 1 to a category 2, category 2 to category 3. So I will put that in there.
I was just thinking, like, if there's a really bad storm and, a bunch of workers get knocked over or something, or we've already spent the money to fix a lot of that, but.
Yeah,
So
and actually in capital outlays, we have also that here.
So there is a cemetery repair and maintenance line item, just it's got a zero funding in it.
Right.
So you're advocating
Well, I meant to
just to fund it.
Yeah, I'm saying, I should be more clear, to say, so.
Because we had 3,000 in there last year, but we haven't spent anything in this year's, right?
Right, and it could be things like a tree that might look like it might be coming down. We've had some storms through the trees.
Yeah, that's what I meant, to put money in it, to have it.
So perhaps not at the level of 2026, but to put something in there.
Okay.
But if something, if there was damage and it was needed, we could just pull from another.
Right, yeah, we would do transfer of appropriation.
Okay. Have we, so I'm looking at 2025, it was unfunded. 2024, obviously we're doing other stuff with it. What has there been in regards to cemetery repair and maintenance over the last few years?
Well, other than our big project with
Right.
stone huggers, like I said, it's just been that one tree or maybe, a tree here and there that needs cut down, nothing really else. But let me go ahead and get through this, and then I've got something else to talk about because that I think is going to affect the discussion.
Okay.
So as far as township assistance, as far as personal services, it's a 0 because we don't have a person in that position right now. For office supplies, I actually, we've had the township assistance fund so high the last couple of years and our numbers just are not really there. We can always increase the budget, but I was just trying to think, maybe let's try to do something and aim for realistic, knowing that we can always increase. So office supplies, $50, postage, $100, legal services, and legal services are if someone is denied assistance and they'd like to appeal to the commissioners. And then travel expenses, $150 again, if I have to go out to someone's house for an interview or to drop off an application. For assistance, we had burial and ambulance service for $1,000, shelter for $4,000, public utility service for $4,000. So right now, I'm kind of inkling to be around $10,000. In the past, it would be about $10,000 for the clerical worker and about $10,000 in assistance. I think the most amount we've ever spent for both of those things in the past was around $17,000 or $18,000. So I don't think $10,000 is too far off if we're not paying for someone to be here. All right, for the senior center, I just have $6,000, and then rainy day fund, I'm just going to propose $15,000. We can discuss how we want to spend that, but again, it's just kind of a budget. Then that saves us from doing an additional appropriation next year. One thing that I also included in the packet, the budget process is different this year because they've completely overhauled Gateway and how we go about entering our budget information. The reason why I don't really want to talk about this too much is because I don't know if I've entered this correctly. My budget workshop is Friday. We'll go through it here. But I thought this was a really interesting way to look at kind of where we are now, what our income and expenses could be next year, and where we might be at the end of next year. Because for the last probably 5 to 7 years, we've known that 2027 and 2028 are going to be lean years. We know that, and we don't know how our income is going to be after 2028. It's an uncertain time. So looking at, again, this is kind of, I filled out all the information. I got green check boxes, so I think this is correct, but I'm not willing to state for the record that this is what it's going to be. So the first part is kind of looking at our cash balance and investments, our property taxes that we still need to collect, and then our remaining budget for the year. Next is our revenues for next year. So our property tax levy is only supposed to be about $42,000. It's $41,999. I tell my kids grounds round. Then we're going to have property tax cap losses. This is a very similar number compared to last year. So looking at the effect of Senate Bill 1 and the effect that it's going to have on us as an entity in regards to homeowners property tax, I feel like it was maybe $20 difference or something like that. I didn't see a huge difference, and I didn't expect there to be a difference. And then they're expecting our non-property tax revenues to be $18,434. And actually, our budget estimate right here is 60,000, which is different than what's on here. You know why? Because when I went to enter what was in here, it said that we weren't going to be able to fund our budget. One of the reasons why it thinks we're not going to be able to fund our budget is because the State Board of Account, or I'm sorry, the Department of Local Government Finance is expecting us to spend every penny that we budgeted this year. So that's another reason why I have a reduction in appropriation, because I'm not planning on spending that, and I really want to make sure that we can fund next year's budget. So thinking about, oh, we want to do stuff for cemeteries and we want to do stuff for gardens. I'm not saying no, but it's going to make me very nervous for the next 2 years to commit to anything that's super big.
Okay.
He was proposing to fund it himself,
I
I
forgot.
would fund a lot of it.
which is expensive.
So the tax rate calculator would have us down at 0.0123 for township fund. And then for the township assistance fund, this is a fund that, they say by the end of the year, if we spend nothing else, it's going to have $150,000 in it. So that's a very healthy fund. That's only going to be used for township assistance. But if we're not having folks applying, then I feel like we can direct most of our tax revenue towards township, which is an area that, I am concerned about. So that would be 0. And then recreation, we're looking at, a fund balance. If we spend everything at the end of this year at $11,951, we have enough money to fund that, $6,000. So again, I'm just kind of taking all of that $42,000 and minus the 2,000 and all of our lit and directing it to the township fund, and again, trying to be lean. So going back to this spreadsheet, I would say that if we need to get it back down to about $60,000, I would take away that $30,000 in buildings. So some of the projects, let's finish up the painting here, but let's not commit to anything new at this time. I had some ladies tell me today how nice it would be to have new kitchen cabinets, but maybe we can look at painting them instead. But for right now, until we know more about what's going to happen after 2028, I would just feel a little more comfortable. Let's buy what we need to buy, i.e. the printer, but let's be a little conservative, in my opinion. This is up to the board to approve that. So any other conversations that you want to have about the budget for next year? Again, I've got my budget workshop on Friday. I might have different numbers at that point.
Well, since we can appropriate money if we need to for the cemetery, I would say we don't need to put money in that column then. Since we would fix it if it needed to be fixed.
Yeah, and I feel like the other service and charge, that's $2,770. That's kind of a little extra buffer. And mowing cemeteries right now, it's not probably going to be about $5,000. So I feel like there's a wiggle room in a lot of things. I don't feel like there's a lot of wiggle room, but we have some to do what we need.
I agree. I think we should be lean. I think that's good. That's a really good way to look at it.
All right. Moving on, I think the next item on the agenda is the capital improvement plan.
Yeah, so I downloaded the spreadsheet that the DLGF gave and completed the spreadsheet, and both the lines, check 1 and check 2, said threshold not met.
Okay.
So I was wondering, I know I said that the Indiana Township Association, by the way, these are all the documents that I had to provide for the auditors. I just wanted to share that. Sorry, I just noticed that. But both of these say threshold is not met. However, the Indiana Township Association is encouraging all townships to complete it. Do you want to go through this extra process this year? Or do you want to say our threshold wasn't met, we didn't have to do it?
Our threshold was not met, we don't have to do it.
I agree.
Okay. That's a hefty stack, by the way. sure there's not padding in here. All right. Next up on the agenda is a reduction appropriation.
Yeah, so as I said earlier, the state thinks that we're going to be spending every bit of money that we've budgeted. So I thought, okay, let's scale it back a little because we did kind of have a larger budget this year than we ever had. So right now, our buildings line and capital outlays is at $37,465 remaining budget. I thought, well, we can take that back to maybe 35,000. Maybe hopefully repainting the ceiling is not going to cost more than $2,000. And then our other services and charges are currently at $10,088. So I thought maybe we could cut that back by about $5,000. So this would be, for the very first time in my tenure as trustee, reducing our budget so that we can have next year's budget, have more money in next year's budget. So you want me to read the resolution?
Please.
Appropriation reduction resolution. Whereas it has been shown that certain existing appropriations now have unobligated balances that will not be needed for the purpose for which appropriated. It is further resolved that the following existing appropriations be reduced in the following amounts. Township General Fund, other services and charges, amount requested $5,000. Capital outlays, amount requested $35,000 for a total of $40,000. This reduces the permission to spend.
Board have any questions or comments? All right, do I have a motion to approve the appropriations reduction resolution in the amounts that were just discussed?
I motion to.
That's all I got to say.
Second.
Make it easier for you. We'll hold by roll call. Dodds?
Yes.
Husk? Yes. McInerney?
Yeah.
Motion passes.
Yeah, my office is like a tornado went through it, literally, just with files and stuff. I have to spend some time putting out. But the good news is this is the first year of the new audit period, and I definitely have some opportunities to improve my filing process.
Okay, the last item on the agenda for the new board business is the transfer of appropriation.
So this is in order to properly fund the deputy trustee line item of budget, which again, we did not have when this budget was approved last year. We now have this position. So this is transferring $2,000 out of other services and charges for the payment of the deputy trustee. So the resolution reads, additional appropriation and reduction resolution. Whereas it is determined that it is now necessary to transfer appropriation within the Township General Fund than what was previously appropriated. Now therefore, Section 1, be it resolved by the Benton Township Board of Monroe County that for the expenses of the taxing unit, the following additional sums of money are hereby appropriated out of the fund same for the purposes specified, subject to laws governing the same. Township General Fund, amount of increase requested for personal services, $2,000. Total for Township General Fund, $2,000. Whereas it has been shown that certain existing appropriations now have unobligated balances that will not be needed for purposes for which appropriated, it is further resolved that the following existing appropriations be reduced in the following amounts. Township General Fund, other services and charges, amount of reduction requested, $2,000. So again, this is not, this is just transferring money in between categories, transferring budgets between categories. It does not increase spending, decrease spending, increase or decrease cash balance. It's just transferring from one item, one category to the other.
Do Do I have a motion to approve the additional appropriation and reduction resolution in the amounts as described?
I make a motion for the transfer of appropriation.
Second.
All right, we'll vote by roll call. Dodds?
Yes.
Husk, yes. McInerney?
Yes.
Motion passes. So we have no public comment this evening. So do I have a motion to adjourn at 7:18
I
p.m.?
motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All right, vote by roll call. Dodds?
Yes.
Husk, yes. McInerney?
Yes.
Motion passes. We are adjourned.